One gorgeous to look at. I mean, this is probably one of my favorite ones I've seen in a while. And
we're looking at this very closely. Some kind of plasmic display over a major city, blowing up into a gas form, almost as if it's some kind of cloud formation. Is this some weird weaponized artwork? I don't know. I just don't know what to say. This is just really, really weird stuff here.
Yeah, Blake, indeed. This seems to be like spawning this kind of like green material throughout the city as it just kind of explodes. It kind of reminds me of the movie Nope. At the same time, could this be biological, or is this, again, some people were saying this is some sort of a Samsung commercial being displayed over Pakistan? I don't know. This is the first footage that we've seen from this, so right now we're just observing and leaving an opinion. What is this?
you know what this immediately puts my mind to is, 4D hologram technology or Project Bluebeam. It definitely looks like a display, like an art display to me. I mean, it looks very artistic, very beautiful, but maybe it's beyond that. I'm not ruling that out, but it definitely looks really amazing. And I want to know if anyone else has captured shots from this, because this is all I've seen so far. And you would think if it was such a magnificent display,
beyond something crazy like this. I think this reminds me of the Vegas UFO that crashed, where it was a big light that ring cameras saw, and another ring camera actually captured the explosion when it hit the ground. So that may very well be what we're looking at. Obviously, it's not crashing, but the fact that we're not hearing anything, I think that's making this ultra fantastic to look at.
The fact that we actually hear the audio and see the craft at the same time, in my opinion, proves that whatever it was, it's in very close proximity to the camera that shot it.
A lot of things on the table, but we're happy to be back right here at Third Phase Moon, sharing the best UFO videos. We're going to be a lot more consistent, and what a great way to start off with this incredible sighting that was just submitted. It's kind of making the rounds. We're looking at this triangular shaped dark mass in the sky. You can see these really sharp edges. What I like about it is that you can see the clouds just kind of drift in front of it. If this is done on maybe some sort of CGI, this is a complicated. Somebody's doing good work, or if this is a real deal, we're looking at something special. Could this be the real TR-3B?
absolutely. I mean, that's just what came to my mind seeing this. I thought maybe it was a TR-3B hovering at first, but it comes around the side. I almost wonder if this is more pyramidal, like it could be like a Vimana type structure, because I think I saw the camera pan a little at one point and it almost looked pyramidal. So definitely very interesting.
At first glance, I also thought it was a TR-3B, a typical triangle, but no, just like Apollo said, it looks to me more like a flying pyramid, a black flying pyramid, almost similar to what people are talking about is hidden in Alaska, only this is in flight. And one of the reasons I think this is real is if someone wanted to fake this, wouldn't they want to make it without clouds where you could see it better? The fact that it's going, behind some clouds, in front of some others, it looks very, very legitimate.
Yeah, what's the nature of the shadow is the big question. Is it a solid object, or it could be some kind of optical illusion? I'm looking at this thing. It looks to be at least maybe 100 feet in length and width here, and we got this trifecta black shadow up there in the sky. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, Blake, you see the buildings in the background and the open shot, and it kind of gets comparison. It seems almost like the same distance. So this thing's massive, like you say. If this thing's real, if this is what we're looking at something that has everybody questioning, scratching their heads. Is this a real deal, John?
I think it's definitely the real deal as far as whatever was in the sky and whatever was photographed is there. It's not something that's created in CGI, in my opinion, at all. And let's just say this for everybody. There really is no incentive to create fake hoaxes these days as there were, say, in the 80s and 90s where you could sell them to a network. So I don't think someone created this with that much accuracy with regards to the clouds, the size, and other things, I think this is legitimate.
Absolutely, and we're looking at more legitimate footage. And I agree 100% what you just said, Dr. J. Look, SpaceX, Elon Musk, they're capturing the phenomenon. And what just happened with the Starship? Something just struck vertical up in space right next to the Starship as it entered the space and left Earth's atmosphere. Look at this. Totally under control. This isn't some space debris, in my opinion. Vertical, straight, no deviation. This thing is intelligent, in my opinion. Whatever's piloting this thing, there's intelligence behind it.
Yeah, like this one's pretty exciting. We're seeing it. We see the whole aspect of what's happening. We're seeing maybe possibly ice particles drifting the way they should during a SpaceX launch. We recognize this all the time, but this is, like you say, Blake, it's just going straight up. There's no wobble. It's just kind of drifting, and it has aspects of seeing things that we've seen straight here on Earth during commercial airliners. Could this be the same object? What we're seeing again is something that has a scratch in our head right here at Third Phase of Moon.
Yeah, it definitely looks like to me like some sort of seemingly anti-gravity technology, like a flying disc for sure. And it's really interesting because, you know, it just comes straight up out into the upper atmosphere. And you know, I know there's other sightings of this happening all over the world. I mean, airliners, people have been spotting this from airliners around the world. And look at this. It's the exact same shape and size as this object that was caught. I think there's a connection between this. What do you think, Dr. J?
You know, I first to think this was actually a disc going up, just like Bob Lazar says, when they travel primarily outside of Earth's atmosphere, they point all three gravity generators and fly from the bottom facing forward. However, the more I look at this compared to the one that the model caught outside the airplane that's streaking from right to left, it looks a little different from the left side to the right side. I'm tending to think this is more of a cylinder as opposed to a disc now.
Good point, Dr. J. When we're looking at this, we're seeing this object. Again, it could be disc-like, it could be cylindrical. We don't know because we're living in a 3D plane and we're looking at a 2D shot. Again, we got these comparisons with the same thing that's being captured from SpaceX and the ground on Earth. Now we got more photos that just came in. We're looking at it. Again, could this be the same craft?
You know, to me, this looks a lot like the Manta. I think it's a proposed project that they've been working on supposedly at Area 51, similar to the Aurora, a newer spy plane. This one looks like a different shape to me than the last one shown in the video because it's not as cylindrical. It definitely, like, it reminds me of the manta ray shape that is sometimes incorporated in aircraft.
This is awesomely, amazingly good footage. The fact that you're seeing not just a big jumbo jet, but what doesn't look like a cylinder, not a triangle or anything like that. Just like Apollo said, this kind of looks like the manta ray that a lot of people are reporting around the world.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're looking at this. You know, it's a photo. Anything can be done with this. It could be photoshopped. But what I like about this one, again, the Starship really represents what happened just recently, and it showcases something that it's going to make the rounds. People are going to be questioning this. They're going to be sharing it over the news. It should be shared in Congress because what we're seeing is, again, something that's not moving left to right or undulating. We're seeing this disc-like shape just kind of propel itself again. That leaves everybody wondering. We see all the space dust or crystals coming off the craft. This doesn't look anything like space junk to me.
Yeah, one interesting thing that I wanted to point out that I noticed on this is you see a glint on the left side, and I almost wondered, does that mean that it's an object that's stationary and it has this color over it? So, but it almost seems like the glint on it, like, could that be from some light as it's circling upwards? So I think that's really interesting but you know, it definitely looks like a cylindrical shaped craft, as Dr. J said.
The reason I tend to say this is not a disc but more a cylinder, look at the left side compared to the right side. It looks a little fatter and almost like there's a window or porthole or whatever it is in the craft or drone that we're looking at. That's why this, to me, is, if you look closely and look while it's zoomed up, paused, it looks like a cylinder for sure.
Are we looking at some kind of Space Force activity, keeping an eye on things, commercial airliners, SpaceX programs, the ISS? What the heck is going on in the skies? The evidence is overwhelming with regards to this phenomenon. We've got more videos coming in, but again, this still photograph does look like this black budget program, and it is right now public, the Manta project, but it's been under suppression for at least 30 to 40 years. Imagine what's going on now. What was the last new aircraft that you saw that came out of Lockheed, Skunk Works, Raytheon, any kind of new aircraft? It's all old school. What we're looking at is the new school, and it's being suppressed from us. Look at this new footage of another commercial airliner being flanked by something that we can't explain.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool. It caught our eye a little bit. We're sharing it again. You can see this commercial airline with a contrail behind it, and then we're seeing this thing that's just flanking it really close that doesn't have any telltale signs of any wings or anything. No contrail coming off this object. Whatever thing's flanking this to the left is something special.
What I think is interesting about this one is the pulsing light in the middle. It makes me wonder if this is some sort of plasma technology that's powering the ship. But whoa, look at that. Another airliner, someone in an airliner captures a video, and it looks just like the disc that we have been seeing.
This is another typical saucer filmed out of an airplane. Thankfully, people are keeping their cameras on and shooting outside airplane windows. We need more of this. This reminds me of an elongated top, similar to the one we covered about a month and a half ago that had those weird appendages on the ends, although it doesn't have that. And it's silver, it's glistening in the sun, unlike the ones we just saw, which were all black.
We're looking at this footage closer, and we're adding some brightness contrast, adding some filters to see if we could see what kind of propulsion is behind this craft. But we notice a couple other black orbs accompanying it. It's like, there it is. Do you see it? It just passes right over the top of this disc, whatever it is. It's going faster than this commercial airliner, and we don't see any kind of wings, tail, or any means of propulsion. This is absolute proof, in my opinion, that we're looking at something that exists above us 24/7.
Yeah, cool footage. We see this, like you just said, like this thing's like moving faster than the commercial airliner. That's pretty impressive if this is indeed real. Again, could this be, I'm just throwing it out there, being done in Photoshop, but I like these little orbs, the black orbs that we're seeing from the right and the top left over there as we're looking at this all together. Pretty cool.
Yeah, what's interesting about the black orbs is they seem to be hovering very stationary in comparison to how fast this thing is moving. I mean, like everyone said, it's actually moving faster than the airliner, like way faster. So that's really incredible.
Yeah, as we, again, enhance the footage, Paula, you're exactly right. This thing, these black orbs, they're stationary right there. Once again, right above the craft. And this doesn't happen at like rare circumstances. This is happening every day. That's what's quite amazing. Again, the footage that comes in, we could prove it. Take a look at this one. Another commercial airliner, broad daylight, captures the phenomenon once again. It's not moving quite as fast, but it definitely seems that there's some kind of intelligence behind whatever's piloting this gimbal. It almost looks like the famous gimbal footage.
This totally looks like the gimbal, the Go Fast, and not quite the TikTok, because it has more of the Bob Lazar sport model shape where you see the dome on top and, of course, what looks like a disc. It's definitely not a pyramid, definitely not a triangle. And yes, it may not be going as fast as the other things, but the ability to control itself and go, slow or fast is what's one of the mind-blowing things of our technology that we're trying to reverse engineer.
Yeah, the stability of this craft, as we're looking at this once again, definitely has the characteristics of total flight control. That's what's making us wonder. It doesn't look like a balloon at high altitude, but it possibly could be. But again, it definitely resembles the gimbal footage. I'm not seeing it rotate. I'm just seeing it very, very straight and narrow in its flight pattern.
Yeah, Blake, could this be some sort of high flight weather apparatus being tested in the sky? Who knows, but somebody got a good shot. This has been shared. We're looking at it again because this is a good one because it's special. We're looking at everything that's legit. There's no CGI. Everything's 100%. I'd lay money on it. Anybody wants to talk about we're putting up CGI. This is legitimate footage. This is as good as it gets. Again, the big question is, what is it? Again, somebody zooms in, you see it, and all this compares to everything that we've been seeing on tonight's show. What's happening in the skies? What's happening in space? And why is this being captured on pretty much a daily basis?
Yeah, it seems in the mainstream media, this UAP in particular has been undesirable number one. And it's, almost top shaped to me, which I think is interesting. And, these commercial airliners, they really need to watch out because these things are going by really fast. People are capturing them all the time. And who knows, they got to be careful they don't crash into one of these one day. This has been captured by a lot of pilots from my understanding.
Just like Apollo said, they have to be careful not to crash into airplanes. We do know that's happened before. One of the most famous cases was in the early 50s over in Russia, where a cylindrical type of craft crashed into one of their MiGs, and they both ended up going down, which ended up creating Kapustin Yar, which is the Russian equivalent of Area 51.
Something shoots across the caldera of Popocatépetl. What are we looking at? It's quite incredible. Could this be the smoking broad daylight gun footage that we've been looking for? We've been seeing Popocatépetl footage for years now, but the broad daylight one, this one's a good one.
Yeah, this is usually the phenomenon that we're seeing right over the mountain, the caldera, as you speak, the volcano. It's active, and that's the most interesting part. Also, usually these sightings, we're seeing it at night. Now we're seeing this crystal clear, very active spot of UFO activity. Now we're seeing this what looks like a cylindrical disc just shooting across the top of the mountain right there, and you can see the glints on top of it. Could this be some sort of drone? I don't think so, because this thing's so massive. That's a big question. What are we looking at?
Yeah, what I think is incredible about this is how is it going through the actual smoke, right over the caldera. And I think that's amazing because there's been a lot of talk of UFOs possibly flying over volcanoes and recharging over them using the piezoelectricity or electric energy coming up out of the volcano and recharging with it. So definitely very interesting. I don't think a normal kind of government craft or airliner would just go right through the smoke like that. I mean, and it definitely has a glint on the top that's very interesting.
Just like Apollo said, spot on. These UAPs have been seen going in and out of volcanoes for the longest time, possibly and most likely to get energy. And this is, first of all, it's not a drone or a plane because it would not be going so close to the smoke. It would blind the pilot or everybody in that matter. But the other interesting thing is look at the distortion around the craft. That could be an Alcubierre warp bubble, essentially a gravity shield around it, protecting it and allowing it to go as fast as it can without breaking the sound of speed.
When we're adding some brightness contrast and getting a close-up look on whatever this craft is, we're actually noticing exactly what you just said there, Dr. J. Some kind of plasmic surrounding this craft. What is this? Is this some kind of technology and, again, harvesting energy from volcanoes? We've been saying that for years. And why else would they be at this active volcano over there in Mexico?
Yeah, Blake, this, again, everybody right here, look at that close-up. You do see the particulates kind of coming off the craft. Could this maybe be just a digital artifact within the camera, creating this kind of trail behind whatever craft we're looking at? Who knows? But I like this video because it's showing, again, how active this volcano is with UFO activity.
When I first saw this, as I was mentioning the Alcubierre warp bubble, it looked like a camera artifact, but it's definitely not because it's definitely steady as it's going from right to left and the distortion around it is moving. And that, again, is how these things travel with gravity propulsion. Now, if everyone's getting ready, let's get ready for the crazy footage that's coming up next.
All right, this video, we're looking at it once again, and we're going to be adding some brightness contrast coming out of China. Apparently, Brent's been looking into this. We're trying to find the exact source location, but China is lighting up with all kinds of activity. Who knows what's going on? The social media over there is suppressed in its own way, but right now we're seeing something out of China that it's kind of hard to explain. Is it some building obscured in the fog bank back there, or are we looking at some kind of large craft just hovering over some Chinese city here, Brent?
Yeah, this guy that got this shot, he's doing a phenomenal job. He's recognizing something that's not normal. That's what I like. And that's what we're all questioning here. What are we looking at? We're seeing this illuminated object above the building. Almost looks like there's a beam coming down from this. Could this be some sort of large craft, or just like Blake said, could it be maybe a building kind of fogged out and we're not seeing the structure of it, and we're just seeing the illuminating lights maybe of the sun reflecting off the building? Who knows? But I'm looking at something that's a phenomenon. If I saw this, I would share it. I'd film it, because we just want to know.
Yeah, it's incredible the way this is kind of, the lights are kind of coming through the mist here. It really almost looks like an interdimensional tear or some sort of thing coming in from another dimension. But, you know, it makes me wonder, is it, you know, like Brent just said, light coming, you know, from some other buildings? But, you know, it definitely looks like very lit up in a strange way, where it almost looks like there's this like weird like plasmic stuff around it or something. And it also makes me wonder if maybe it's like a 4D hologram type technology being tested out. Not sure. What are your thoughts, Dr. J?
You know, I'm glad you mentioned the last part. Could it be some sort of technology that's being tested? Because one of the things that came to mind, is this an ARV, alien reproduction vehicle? The other point that everybody has made so far is this like a glitch in the matrix sort of city in the sky illusion? I don't think so. This looks like a large craft. At first, I thought maybe it's multiple, but on second, third, and fourth examination, this looks like one giant one. And as Blake was saying, shooting a beam down and outwardly as well, upward, up to the top left and to the top right.
You know, when we're talking about massive UFO sightings, if this indeed is an object and it's one piece, it's as big as a building. We need to get some side-by-side comparisons of this exact location, maybe on a clear day, and confirm that there is no building in the background here. Are we looking at something that is, like everybody's speculating, a massive mothership? I'm not exactly sure, but the video is legit. We just need to get more answers, and that's why we're putting this out right here at Third Phase of Moon. Like we said, we got a lot of videos coming in. The phenomenon is real. It's happening 24/7. Let's roll the next one right now.
Olha lá, cara, aquela luz. Olha lá. Que é aquilo, cara? Olha. Que luz é aquela, mano? Olha lá a luz! Que luz louca, mano! Ah, o sol morreu, foi pra lá, não foi pra cá, não. Ah, o sol se pôs lá, ó. Que luz é aquela ali? Vai diminuindo. Olha lá, no meio do nada. Olha lá, cara.
What are we seeing here? This is mind-blowing footage that I've been seeing lately around the world. People on fishing boats, ocean liners, literally have been seeing lights coming from the bottom of the ocean to the surface. Is this a USO surfacing? What do you think, Blake? I mean, what else could it be?
Well, we're looking at the luminance underneath the ocean, and it's off at a distance. I would say almost a half a mile out there. And whatever illumination underneath the water, it has to be very bright. I'm saying maybe 10,000, maybe 40,000 lumens, whatever it is. I haven't seen anything quite like this. Could it be some kind of submersible underneath with some LED lights? I'm not sure. It seems like these guys are out in the middle of the ocean. You can see the panning left to right. They're out there in deep sea. What the heck is this?
Yeah, you could actually see the sun rising or setting. We don't know what time of day this was captured, but some people might speculate that this could be the sun shining on the ocean, but you can see the sun was setting. There's no other light in the area that's matching this kind of source of brilliance. We're seeing something that's illuminating the ocean from some distance. Could this be, it almost looks like a stadium underneath the water itself. This thing would be massive, way bigger than any Russian submarine or an American submarine. This thing, whatever's lighting up underneath the ocean, is something that we need to speculate on.
You know, the first thing that comes to mind for me is definitely USO, and it's definitely really incredible to see this light that's so large coming up on the surface here. And it makes me wonder, I know our government has been working on some new craft, like such as this manta-shaped craft, which is basically a USO. You know, it goes under the ocean. It's kind of manta-shaped. It's really interesting. But, you know, there's a lot of new things that are definitely being worked on by foreign powers around the world right now. But I think, you know, just take a look at the underwater bases that people have been finding around the world, especially the one outside Point Doom that everyone always talks about that seems to be miles wide. I mean, maybe there's something that's been here for a long time that, you know, was here before our civilization is still around. Who knows?
I personally don't think that this has always been seen, because this would have been captured at the same spot time and time again. My guess is exactly what Blake was saying. Look at the lumens. You have water with light going through it. Usually water would dissipate the light at a certain distance. This has to be so intense, and obviously is to the point that you have the fishermen wanting to photograph it, to videotape it, and asking themselves what this is. I agree with all of it. This is more than likely a USO. Could be, like Apollo said, a manta ray USO or ARV. But remember, a USO is basically a UFO in water. They're transmedium. They could fly in the water, in space, or in air.
Well said there, Dr. J. And once again, we're asking you, the people that are watching this live premiere on Third Phase of Moon, to give us your opinions. If you've seen anything like this, let us know what you think it could be, because right now we have no explanation. We're speculating, but whatever it is, again, we're looking at something authentic. The video was captured, no manipulation. There's something going on underneath the surface of the water right there. And could it be some kind of unknown biological, maybe a plankton kind of swarm of plankton? I'm not exactly sure. Bioluminescent life forms. What is going on here?
Yeah, but when we're looking at this, we're looking at a golden light. Usually plankton and these bioluminescent creatures reflect kind of a bluish, purplish color. So we're looking at something different right here. Again, I'm not sure if this is anything biological. I'm thinking it's more something on the USO, because that's what the world's talking about. They believe it's here. There's a lot of things, a lot of talking about. Maybe that's where it's all coming from. But hey, big episode tonight. We got more UFOs coming up. Watch this.
Das ist kein Riesenrad, das ist im Wasser drinne. Da kann man noch was anderes. Das ist kein Riesenrad, das ist im Wasser drinne. Da kann man noch was anderes.
Now, we're talking about biological UFOs. This one is one of those representations that we're looking at. When we're going to get some close-ups, some side-by-side comparisons, there's something very strange, a bluish sphere just hovering above the surface of the ocean. Again, more videos coming in with regards to weird stuff around big bodies of water. The Pacific, Atlantic, lakes, whatever. There's something going on. Are they hiding beneath us all the time? Like, look at this thing. We're getting this close up, and I can't explain what we're looking at. It definitely looks like a bioluminescent sphere here.
Yeah, I was wondering, looking at this, if actually, you know, it's something that's partially submerged out in the distance. I mean, I kind of wondered if it was a beach ball at first, but when you look at it closer, it definitely looks very bioluminescent in nature. I mean, I don't think it's like a neon beach ball. I mean, because it has this like kind of glowing effect to it. It's definitely not just like some regular material object, and it almost makes me wonder if it's plasmic in nature.
Yeah, Paula, good points. That what we're seeing with this close-up, it makes you scratch your head. Like you just said right there, it looks like it's slightly submerged, dipped into the lake or the ocean, whatever we're looking at. You can kind of see transparency through it too as well, and it's so far off. This wouldn't be your average beach ball that you're kicking on the beach. This thing's so massive because of the distance that we're looking at. I would estimate it to be maybe the size of a pretty good house, or maybe a bus. Hard telling, but this thing's big, and what we're looking at again is a phenomenon. Dr. J.
You're absolutely right. It's definitely large. It's definitely not a beach ball. And when you look at the shape, it looks more like a cylinder with being roundish on the top, or maybe even like an egg. What's interesting is what's in the middle. What's that black part in the middle? Is it one of those spheres that has this black line in the middle that a lot of people are reporting around the world? And like Apollo said, is this a USO that's partly in the water, partly out of the water? This kind of reminds me what Commander Fravor was talking about, what he saw on top of the ocean. He was flying over the F-18 in 2004 off the coast of San Diego, when he saw essentially an anomaly that looks something like this.
It's interesting too that Harvard just recently speculated where ETs come from, whether they're from other planets or maybe they've been here all along. And this new study from Harvard explains their theories that maybe they've been here among us from the very beginning, and now they're showing themselves to us.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that, and also what Dr. J said about the black object in the middle. I didn't notice that at first, and then once it was zoomed in, and after he said that, I realized like it almost looks like some sort of bioluminescent like embryo. Like what if it's like some sort of egg sac or something? I don't know. I mean, when you look closer, it looks like there's something inside it. So I don't know. That's definitely very strange.
Yeah, when I saw this, it didn't catch my eye too much, but when you do this zoom up and you get that close look at this thing, it makes you scratch your head. What is this thing? You can see it has this light, the charge around it. It doesn't match anything else around it, and it's so peculiar. It's out there on the distance. This guy that got this shot, big thumbs up.
We're going to go over what just happened over Croatia. Multiple cameras captured something hovering over the town there. Watch this.
That did pick it up.
All right, we're looking at this. This is coming in from the hidden underbelly. He's actually uncovered more information with regards to this event, captured on multiple cameras. What the heck is going on? Brent, your thoughts on this one?
Dang, did you just see that? The whole place just lit up blue, and then this thing just parks along the city over Croatia. It's amazing. The hidden underbelly did a great job because he's getting all the frames that we're looking at here. And what are we seeing here? Is this something otherworldly? We just don't know. This is a phenomenon.
This is phenomenal footage caught from 4 different over Croatia. We haven't been getting much from it because a lot of people don't seem to be submitting it. But this looks like a blue TR3B. The question is it ours or is it ET?
Yeah, that's the big question, Dr. J. Again, we're looking at this, and to me it seems like it looks like a craft up there. Like you can see it just hovering, and I would have to speculate that it's about 40 to 50 feet in length, and it almost resembles this blue TR3B just hovering over the city. And again, the evidence that backs it up with the multiple cameras, the security cams capturing the same anomaly is quite amazing. But how it just parked over the city and remained stationary for a moment of time, this isn't a celestial event. This thing parked itself right above Croatia, and there's the evidence, the 4 angles side by side. Again, more videos. Buckle up. Let's just roll it.
Is Buddy though?
No.
cosa sia però?
Tipo una cosa trainata.
Porca
More
puttana,
angles
che
of the
minchia è
same
sta
phenomenon. A third angle. Brent, do you have any background on this?
Yeah, this was taken over the city, the country of Italy, and people were seeing this, and people were just fascinated
Giovanni.
about what was going on.
No,
This is
Giovanni,
what
questa è
really
una cosa
captures the eye.
incredibile,
Listen.
Io sto filmando, ma perché qualcosa è trasparente. Cioè, trasparente, si vedeva prima la stella, però vedi, sul lato si vede che c'ha qualcosa come una luce. Wow, è una cosa incredibile. Raga, ma che cazzo è? Porca troia, che cazzo è?
What is that? I'm so confused.
Again, multiple angles coming in from Italy of the same phenomenon. People are just bewildered. What the heck is going on here?
What is that?
It has some radar jamming. And look, there's something hovering over the cloud.
Yeah.
There is something up above it, you're right.
What was that line?
Now, this one really captures our eye. We're going to get a close-up look of another person that was there that captured it. Watch the enhancement. We're going to look at something quite special. Whatever is going on in the sky, it reveals something that still can't be explained, and we're going to try and figure this out all together. Dr. J, I'm pulling up this video, a side-by-side comparison of one of the crazy anomalies, but your first impressions.
This is really mind-blowing footage. The actual cylinder, the cigar-shaped crap, reminds me very much of a very footage from the 1990s from Colorado. What's interesting, though, is the other anomaly that seems to be following it. Is it sort of like a wormhole and we're seeing the other side? Or is it another craft that seems to be observing? Are these two of the same species? Or is one ours and the other in ET?
Yeah, well said there, John. We're going to get a really close-up of this thing that gives us the phenomenon that really caught our interest. We noticed the rod, as we're enhancing the footage, is shooting away from the cloud itself, and then the bright orb or whatever. Could this be a rocket launch? I don't know. It could be, but it's not Elon Musk. This is taking place in Italy, so this isn't launching out of Florida or Vandenberg. We don't know what this is, and if that's something falling back to the sky, I don't know if it's a rocket, because it's bigger than average.
Yeah, look at this. Another, like, straight up another anomaly captured. We're enhancing it. And while this is happening, it's being filmed. And I don't think the major media is talking about this right now. This is incredible stuff. And I think people need to share this link right now. We're going to supply it in the chat and the description. Put this out on social media. There's something crazy that just happened over Italy. Dr. J, look at this thing.
Yeah, the interesting thing, the one with the circle, the third one that seems to enter. Unfortunately, because it gets blurry, we don't get to see if it's blinking or not. So it's hard to tell if it's something terrestrial, like you mentioned, a rocket launch or something real, or is it a third UFO?
You know, the enhancement, as we're looking at this, I still don't have an explanation. Again, the third anomaly, as Dr. J just stated, guys, give us an opinion. Italy is lighting up. If anybody around this area captured the same phenomenon, contact us. Now, let's roll the next video right now. All right, we got a broad daylight sighting of something that could be speculated as something biological. I'm not sure. It's very bizarre. It's broad daylight. We thought we should share it with you. There's a lot of talk in the news and people talking with regards to these UFOs being possible life forms. Brent, your thoughts here?
Yeah, this one's kind of weird. We're looking at this. The close-ups are good. We're going to get some good enhancements just to share with everybody. But you see these appendages dropping off of it, and it's morphing. It doesn't seem like your typical band of balloons that are moving or drifting in the wind. It seems like it's steady, and it's just odd. Your thoughts, Dr. J?
It's interesting. It's definitely not balloon. My first impression was this looks like a bell-shaped object from World War II in Germany, the bell-shaped craft. However, the Wonder Woman. However, like you said, Brent, it is morphing. Is this a biological entity floating in the sky? And those are like sort of short legs. The fact that it's changing shape is why I tend to believe it's possibly an EV, unless, of course, distortions from gravity are causing it to look like it's morphing.
What the heck? Now, even more videos. South America, listen up. Did something just flash over Mexico, South America? I'm not exactly sure. It's something that's spherical. It looks like a saucer just above the clouds, pulsating, just hanging up there. Are we looking at some kind of massive mothership just above these people's heads, and they're capturing it on video? Or is this some kind of optical illusion? I'm not sure.
Yeah, Blake, that's a big question. It seems like people on the ground are convinced that something's actually happening up in the sky. That's the important part. But we could speculate, could this maybe be some sort of projection being projected into the sky upon the clouds? But let's just say if there's something within these clouds that's creating this light and kind of blows up with this sporadic light of blue right at the end, this is fascinating. If you capture this kind of stuff, send it right here at Third Phase Moon. John, what is this?
This again is also mind-blowing. At first glance, I thought, okay, maybe we're seeing something natural, like an electrical storm with light. But no, that's not what's happening. If you look around, this is the only thing that seems to be flashing. And each time it flashes, you can see it's pretty much the same shape. The lights appear in the same places, which tends to make me think that this is a structured craft. Possibly it's coming in and out of visibility, or possibly it's just the lights are turning on.
You know, it's interesting when you mentioned the flashing of light, that it's almost maybe reflecting on the hull of its craft, revealing its true size. Again, more videos. This one, it kind of blew me away when I was looking at this, and I hope you guys kind of find it as fascinating as we all do right here at Third Phase of Moon. Again, more phenomenon. Just watch this. I'm going to get a side-by-side comparison here too. It's kind of mind-blowing. You know, Dr. J, as I'm pulling up the side-by-side comparison here, are we looking at maybe an airplane just getting sun blasted, and we have this lens flare glinting off the hull of maybe an airliner? We see some indication of FAA lights, but again, it's just very strange. It seems that it's moving too slow to be a commercial airliner, but I'm not sure here.
You know, an argument could be made that it could be a lens flare and something like natural, like an airline, but I don't think so. I'll say two major points about this. One, this reminds me of a very famous case from the mid-90s, the beamstick case from Audrey Ames, when basically a very similar glowing craft followed his car throughout the day caught on film. The second thing, let's go back to what Bob Lazar said 35 years ago. When you have something that's...
There's a close-up right there.
Yeah, when you have something producing a high amount of electricity in a gaseous atmosphere like Earth's, it's going to blow. The only interesting anomaly is what's happening to the left of it.
Yeah, you do see these lights kind of pulsating, exactly like you said, John, right there at the left, popping, and that's interesting. Could it be a glint, again, from the sun reflecting off the wing? Why isn't it doing it to the other side? Maybe it's just a position of the sun. This is a good sighting. Again, these are things that are UFOs. We just don't know what we're looking at sometimes, and that's why you film it. We got a lot more UFOs coming up next.
Yeah, let's just roll the next one right now.
Да, что это такое? Вообще непонятно. Я не могу понять, какие-то две тучи какие-то и какие-то точки. Да, я же говорю, точки какие-то снимаю. Странно, а что это такое? Ну и что это такое, как ты думаешь? Да, что это такое?
Right, we're going to add some enhancements again to this video in just a little bit, and we're trying to track down the exact location. What's your best guess, Dr. J?
Definitely from what they're speaking, this is in language. Again, you have so much mind-blowing footage, lots of daylight sighting. This one is one of my favorites. The craft to the upper left side is straight from the 50s, Georgia Danby's craft, where it had like the 3 balls under, which could be power or more than likely landing gear. The one to the lower right side is a little smaller, also looks like a disc-shaped craft. And let me give you an analogy. This reminds me of like, I'm having my Ford, you have a Chevy, and we're gonna cruise the boulevard. What if this is 2 sets of aliens in different crafts saying we're gonna check out Earth? That's what this reminds me of.
You know, again, I'm going to be pulling up the side-by-side comparison. It's a lot of work today. There's so many UFOs, and we want to enhance them so you guys could get a closer look. I'm just about done here, but when we're looking at this, it's, again, the broad daylight sighting, and as you mentioned, Dr. J, multiple craft at the exact same time, side by side. You don't get 2 UFOs in one shot. This is incredible stuff. I'm about to pull it up, Brent, here.
Yeah, as Blake does that, let's just look at this when it does pop, because what everybody's talking about here, Blake and Dr. J, is these other balls surrounding these vehicles. If that's what they are, we see them, and then they're just kind of not moving. They're static. They're not like drifting in the wind. They're just hovering above this place. We don't know the region yet. We're trying to find that location. But what is this? It's just not moving. It's static.
Again, when I'm looking at this a little closer, I was enhancing. You see some tendrils on the back of these crafts. I'm not exactly sure what this indicates. Is it the means of propulsion? Again, very bizarre. But the proximity to one another, they're rock solid and they're hanging. That they don't seem to be just drifting. I don't think these are kites by any means. It's something up there.
Let me give a shout out to everybody who has about to capture something. Take this as an example of what to do. These people caught the power lines in there, which gives a good visual of the size. So anybody out there, when you're about to film a UFO, try to capture power lines, the corner of the building, or anything to give us an estimate of where it is in the sky.
Yeah, the reference points really gives dimension, size, and it basically is all mathematics. Your eye, it's a visual scape, and you're able to kind of wrap your mind around everything that you're seeing is not CGI. That's what's happening here. Everything we're sharing here at Third Phase Moon is legit. If it's CGI, we're going to call it out. This is all the real deal. We just don't know what it is. They're UFOs. Now we got a USO that was just captured. Amazing.
There's fucking aliens coming out of the water right now, right here at the beach in Hallandale Beach, right here in Miami right now, guys. We're about to go live on this. There's aliens coming out of the water right there, guys. Yo, there's a fucking light right there, guys. There's a light right there. Yo, there's a light in the fucking ocean, guys. There's a light right there, guys. It's right there. Oh my God, there's something in the water, guys. Something is in the water. Did y'all see that right there? Look, it's spiking up and down right there, guys. And look at this. Look at this huge triangle happening right here, right now. And then there's something water there. Lurking out of the water right there, guys. About to go live on this.
These guys are in shock and awe. Obviously, I had to mute some of their expressions. You're looking at something for the first time. I don't blame them. Dr. J, what do you make of this?
I love this as well. We've seen plenty of videos where light is emanating from the ocean. We just covered this on Thirdphaseofmoon literally a week ago. The difference, this one, it's so much closer to the shore. Is it possible whatever's living at the bottom of the ocean, some people say and the craft, are finally showing themselves? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, again, Dr. J, you nailed it right on the head. The activity with USOs and lights submerged underneath the water, we're seeing it pretty much. It's been fluid this month. It's active. So are we looking at new technology, something special? What I like about this one in Miami, this is so far off in the distance and it's broad daylight. That would take a lot of light to illuminate the bottom of the surface right there. Again, I don't know what this is. Nobody does, but this guy's pretty excited about what he captured and he wanted to share it with the world.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have some jet skis that day and just race it out there and see, investigate what was really going on. But again, look at the choppy waters. Something is submerged underneath the water. And like you said, Brent, this past week, just go back to the last few episodes that we posted, USOs all over the place. There's a rise in that activity. This is maybe something that is maybe a premonition of more sightings from beneath the oceans.
Yeah, Blake, there's this new underwater drone that the government just dropped, and apparently it's been seen by the ISS from space. That's how big it is. Maybe these are some of the sightings, or is something new, some sort of unacknowledged program?
Like you said, this has to be extremely bright to be focused in such an area where you could see it, especially during the daylight. Now, the interesting thing is you have submarine captains who have been seeing these things underwater going extremely fast, breaking the laws of physics as we know them. An interesting theory I've heard, is it possible because of CERN creating all those wormholes, are they letting others into this dimension? And that's what we're seeing, more exotic craft and more different interdimensional beings? Or is it just like you said, this new manta ray sea drone that the United States government has been testing?
Here in Washington, it's 3 p.m. We're following a developing story. Could the military patrol the streets?
Well, you don't just have $2, $3, $10 trillion vanish.
We've given so far $171 million.
Most of the work being done on this are private corporations. Call this a hybrid entity that's neither strictly government nor strictly private. If these are extraterrestrials are real and they're getting here from another star system, they're not using 20th century or early 21st century technology. People at the CIA call it WSFM, weird science and frickin' magic.
That's right. Battle for Disclosure and Battle for Disclosure, the second issue, Air Force One Down, is available right now on Amazon Kindle. Take a look. You will be amazed on how closely this parallels what's going on right now around our world. If you've captured anything amazing, submit it to us right here at Third Phase of Moon. My contact email is in the description. We'll see you next time.
Over and out.
We'll catch you next time.
10-4.